If you've thought about starting an online business but you feel stuck because you don't know what your business idea could be yet, then I want you to understand this. You don't actually need a business idea yet. Now, I know that sounds like the opposite of what the internet usually tells you, which is something along the lines of, pick a niche, decide what you're going to sell, and do it quickly before someone else gets there. Now, for a lot of thoughtful women, that advice actually doesn't create momentum. It creates pressure. Because suddenly it feels like you're being asked to choose the rest of your life before you've even had a cup of tea. Now, when a friend first suggested to me that I create my own online course, I was flattered, but then I immediately dismissed the idea because my immediate question was, a course on what? And I didn't feel like an expert, and I didn't feel particularly polished, and I had this assumption that in order to teach anything, I had to be very professional at something. And at the time, I didn't feel that that was true of me. Now, what I eventually realized, though, was that actually I knew a lot more than most people at the time did about recording videos. And I had a 4-year film degree, and I had spent several years producing videos after I graduated, and it just become kind of normal to me, almost invisible. And that's actually often how it works, that the things that you were most equipped to help with don't always feel impressive. They just feel familiar, like, anyone could do this. But actually, that's not true. Now, the real shift for me came when I stopped asking, what business idea should I choose? And instead I asked, who do I understand well? And who would I actually enjoy working with? Now, that second part matters more than people realize. Now, you can choose something that looks logical or profitable or sensible on paper, but if you don't like the people that you're building for, the business is going to feel very heavy very quickly. Now, I learned this the hard way because I had picked based on profit originally. That was my thinking. This will be a profitable topic. And I eventually ended up making the pivot to something which was more in alignment with who I am and my values, and that's made a huge difference. So practically speaking, profitable ideas tend to emerge far more naturally out of real need or desire, not just what do I want to offer. It's so much easier to choose your ideal client and then sell something to those people who have already expressed a need or a desire than it is to convince someone to buy something that you've just come up with because you felt like you needed an idea. So, in order to avoid getting or staying stuck, you want to clarify who you want to help before you decide for sure what you want to sell. When you start with the idea, everything feels high stakes and permanent. But when you start with the people, real people that you understand, that you respect, that you enjoy being with, then the idea usually starts to take shape on its own, and it can actually be a lot more exciting because you know that it's going to meet a real need or desire. And from a faith perspective, this makes sense because we're not usually given the full plan right up front, right? We're asked to move with what we already carry, our experience, our understandings, a discernment, and trust that clarity comes through action, not before it. Now, if you're thinking, okay, but I still don't know how to work this out for myself, then you might find that the client clarity system would be helpful. It's basically a short, practical mini course that is designed to help you work out who you are best placed to help, why that actually matters, and also how a business idea that you love can grow out of that without forcing it. So I will leave the details linked below, and if nothing else, I hope that this video has just taken a bit of that pressure off so that you don't feel like you need to have it all figured out right now. You just need to start from the place that actually fits you. So I will see you in the next video.